Hello and welcome. I'm Neil Thrussell, and I've heard this intro music like 60 or 200 times, and it still just gets me going. And I'm really excited to have my guest today, Conlee Ricketts, and she's an author, educator, and she's the author of the 26 Days to Practice Peace. And I'm thinking, you missed a whole bunch of days. It should have been 365 days to practice peace. So welcome, Conlee.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to this 2-day marathon that you are hosting.
Thank you. And actually, I think you wrote this to appease me because we're all about speaking to share. I really think that it was probably mother author.
It's a lot of hats.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to ask you to go back in time to picture yourself, a younger version of you, and it could be the teenager, the high schooler, the college version of you, and just pick one, anyone. And what do you suspect, or that your going back in time was your version of success at that point in time?
That's such a good question, because as I've been pondering that, I've listened to, I haven't made it to a lot of the interviews, but I was listening to a couple, and I think when I was super young, success was about being able to, the family vacations or the holidays, or being, happy, having fun. My friends and I, we would play late at night. And that's what I thought life was. That to me was like the life. And as you grow and you realize, wow, my parents really had to work really hard to do what they did, and that changes. And then in college, it's, how am I going to take care of myself? Success is being able to take care of myself and have a job that fulfills me, and not not doing something that is so difficult day in, day out. So I think my definition over time has definitely changed.
Sounds like wisdom was part of this journey.
Yes.
And the current version of you, if you were to define success now, what would you think success is, or what do you think success is to you?
As a writer, I have a relationship with words, and they can really lift me up or wound me, or impact my day, like single words. So for me to understand success, I really had to make friends with the word failure. I had to stop letting that word frighten me. And so when I would say things like, oh man, I failed at this, that, and the other, you can tell how other people feel about that word, because they're like, oh no, you didn't fail. And I'm like, no, I failed. Because it's this thing where if I'm not failing, I'm not learning. And if I'm not learning, I'm not improving. And if I'm not improving, I'm not growing. And if I'm not growing, I'm not succeeding. So it was basically, I had to come to terms with failure, with things not going the way that I wanted them to, and to be able to recognize success in those moments.
don't know about you, but I know that I'm so calm and zen like when it comes to looking at my potential shortcomings.
Me too.
It's like,
Exactly. I was thinking about the phrase chasing success, and I thought, it is something that we chase, but it's not that it's hard to catch. What's hard to do is to recognize when you're being successful. Failing to recognize when I'm being successful. And I saw my whole life. I mean, and this has to be within a couple weeks ago. I think it was synchronous because I knew I was doing this, but I didn't read the article. Let's be honest. I read the headline, and the headline changed my whole perspective. The headline was, I wrote and published a book while working a full time job, and I read that, and I was like, so did I. I was like, "Is that a thing? Is that like a big deal?" I was like, "So did I." And then I started like making this list. I raised a wonderful daughter while working a full-time job. I survived breast cancer while working a full-time job. I helped my 95-year-old father while working a full-time job. Like I started going down this whole list and realizing, you know what? I have a lot of things that I can say that I have been successful with, but I never like sat down and recognized it and felt good about it.
oh, it's wonderful. And you can change that. I raised a daughter without going to jail. I looked after my father without going to jail. and and yeah, we human nature, because we're taught, oh, don't be boastful, don't be so proud. And I believe there's a difference between a boastful proud and just being like, whoa, I did that, and
Right.
really acknowledging what it is that you've done. Like, congratulations, you wrote a book while raising a daughter, while looking after your dad, and working full time.
Yeah, and I think and to me, it wasn't, it took me a minute to be like, you know what, I guess that's something to feel pretty good about. Like, I mean, I don't have, I don't shout that out to the world, but it's all internal. Again, it's like the words I say to myself matter, and learning to make friends with success.
And yeah, and I intentionally, when I was writing this, I was looking at, or when I started writing this, and I'm looking at a younger version of me was chasing success. What does the current version of me think of success? And also, people have been triggered. Why are we chasing success? And I'm like, oh, I love it then.
Yeah, and it's all how you define it, and each person has to figure that out for themselves. For some folks, it's all about the money, and it's all about a financial well-being, and for others like myself, I mean, you could look at probably, within the same family, my sibling, my brother, and myself. For me, success is happiness. It is being able to, yes, I do enjoy being able to pay my bills on time and all of that sort of stuff, but it's really not about the material objects that I have. It's more about my emotional well-being, day in and day out. And sometimes just getting up and putting my feet on the ground is a win, and I need to be happy about that.
Yeah, because and without if there was a clear like you go in there and most people put the monetary definition because it's the easiest one to share.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, I've now made 7 figures, 8 figures, 9 figures, 10 figures. Oh, of course I'm successful, but
Uh-huh.
I could be miserable at home,
Uh-huh.
or I could be broke and happy. So it's where we put our success or our marker of success. And I attune that to or liken it to that I was doing a program years ago, and it was on purpose and passion. And this woman was so distraught because she didn't have a bigger life goal than being the best mother she could be. And she felt it was wrong.
And I've asked myself that same question. I have actually said, I was like, if I could just have the perfect job, and granted my daughter is 20, but my job would be like, wow, I have so much fun just supporting her and helping her achieve her goals. Like if I could just do that day in and day out and be her cheerleader and help, get her dreams fulfilled, I would be the happiest person ever. But that doesn't pay. So I have to enjoy it when I can. I just have to enjoy that I'm doing that and being happy with that. Like what is my life purpose? It's to help others, to help other people find joy. Like that's it's not all about the money, although that's nice, but it's not something I'm used to.
Yeah. So if you were to pick someone that's got some success, they're not more than some, but is ultra successful, an athlete, um, someone that many people look up to, what do you think that they've embodied and use as tools for their success?
I would have to say that the folks that fall into that category for me probably have such a crystal clear vision, of who they are and what they want to bring into the world. What is it that they are here to do? And while maintaining that vision and that energy and that enthusiasm, that is so important. And I don't know that everyone, like myself, I don't maintain my enthusiasm as strongly and as consistently and as great as I would like all the time, but that's okay. However, those people that do hit those tiers, they know what they want. They're passionate. They are consistent. They have a very clear vision. And I think that is definitely one of the key things to knowing, where you want to go and why you're here.
But Conlee, you're telling me I have to know where I'm going. You mean I have to plan?
I don't, and I think we all, like, it's a dream, like I have a dream. I know where I'm going. I know what it would look like. I know what it would taste like. I know what it would sound like. I can picture myself, on the stage or like it's this thing. And yes, everything needs a plan. Yes, you need to kind of backwards design yourself from the vision there to the vision here. If I'm that person, what am I missing? What training do I need? What skills do I need to develop to be that person? All of that stuff is great, but that, I tell people, like I tried to start my own business. I failed, and then people are like, well, you don't plan to fail, you fail to plan. And I'm like, no, like I had a plan. It was just the wrong plan. Like, don't tell me I didn't plan, because I planned. I failed. It was not a good plan. So it was kind of like you just got to roll with it, but you have to know what are the parts from that vision that'll get you, that you're lacking. How do you get there?
Absolutely. And I think one of the keys, and you've said it eloquently, that people fail to plan.
They do, but I always resented that because I was like, no, I didn't fail to plan. I actually had a plan. I
No, I'm
did.
saying,
It didn't go well.
yeah,
It's
yeah, and that, and they, and I'm not talking about your business, but for success, people, I believe, don't spend enough time. We spend more time. The average Canadian spends more time planning our 2 week getaway to get to Mexico and the Caribbean to get out of the snow than
yeah.
they do on their life. It's kind of like some people I know. Hey, would you like to have a baby? Sure. The next thing you know, their parents, and then they're going, well, they've got
Now what
no.
do
They
you?
don't know whether they don't know where and what. And sure, it's overwhelming the number of choices, but they're not actively planning. And I
And I
think,
think with that, you have to so much of that where you said, it's like I'll spend more time planning my vacation than my life. And planning your life and looking to the person you want to be requires you to look at the person that you are right now and what needs fixing or improving or learning and all of that stuff. Because what who said that, what book title is that, but no matter where I go, I'm there. Like I
yeah,
can't escape myself.
yeah, wherever I go, here I am. Yeah. So, so if we go to your website, what do we see on your website?
There's always a link on my website to buy my book. There are blogs, there's some poetry, there's some articles, stories, things I write that I hope people connect with. There is a free audio chapter. If you're not sure that the 26 days are for you, you can download N is for now. And it is 26 days because it's an alphabet, A to Z. So you can start at A and go through Z. And then if you want it to last 365 days, you can start all over again. My dad was like, I picked up your book again and I was reading it and it's really quite good. I was like, thanks, Dad. And then there's like a little about me page, just who I am and why I am, completely awkward. So just little bits and pieces.
That's wonderful. I like that you recognize and or say that you're just awkward.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
I am not, I am very socially awkward. I have social anxiety. So like I am the person that is standing at the party in the corner, not knowing what to say to anyone. And, it's like, I just
So,
stand there and people assume that I am mean or something because I don't talk. And I'm like, no, it's physically painful to talk because I don't know what to say to you.
so knowing that even more, I feel even more honored that when I sent you the request to come and share, that you said yes. Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you. So is there something you would like to leave of words, tidbits of information, of wisdom that you would like to share with our audience before we go?
Well, I think for me, everybody, if you can find your word that frightens you, make friends with what scares you. The only way to kind of get through some things, I said I survived breast cancer, and while I was super lucky, I had like the best case of breast cancer ever because it was so small. But you have to find what frightens you and make friends with it. And it might be a word like failure. It might be a word like regret. It might be a word like shame or any of those things, make friends with it, feel your feels, when things are rough. And the best thing I used to tell my students when they're having a bad day, I was like, go off and feel bad. Go do it. Let that out of you, um, just feel the pain. And once that is through, you can kind of pick yourself up, take a deep breath, and know that you're ready to rock and roll again, because it's life. It's not, every day is not rainbows and sunshines.
I'm not even going to go where I was going to say it, because we're at the end, and I want to thank you for taking the time and for choosing to face the fear and to jump on board. Thank you, Conlee.
You're welcome. Thank you.